After 10 years of isolation, this billionaire discovered the inspiring power of a simple hug. Nathan Rhodes had everything. A sprawling mansion in Maple Heights, lavish cars gleaming in the driveway, and art worth millions hung on the walls. Yet, in the silence of his opulent home, he felt like a ghost trapped in a gilded cage. Betrayed by those he had trusted most, Nathan found himself alone, swallowed by despair. The success he once celebrated now suffocated him. Heaving sighs filled the rooms where laughter used to echo, and he longed for the warmth of genuine connection. Meanwhile, in Maplewood, Clara struggled under the weight of life. At 35, her hands were raw from kneading dough at her grandmother's beloved bakery. Juggling 2 jobs, she fought to keep her family's legacy alive while the community around her faltered. Rising economic disparities threatened her dreams, and she teetered on the edge of closure. As she wiped flour from her brow, hope flickered like the dim light in her shop. Desperate to save her bakery, Clara organized a local festival, a chance to celebrate the spirit of Maplewood while raising needed funds. It wouldn't be easy, but she felt a connection to her community, and that connection ignited a fierce resolve within her. The festival would not only highlight their struggles, but also their triumphs. When the news reached Nathan, he felt an inexplicable pull, an aching desire to step outside, to feel something, anything beyond the emptiness of his mansion. As the day arrived, laughter and melodies filled the park. Children spun in circles, couples danced, and the aroma of fresh baked goods washed over the crowd, a comforting balm amidst their struggles. But as Nathan wandered, he overheard whispers filled with disdain. The words stung like icy needles. Wealthy outsiders like him were unwanted, a reminder of everything they fought against. He felt shame ripple through him, yet couldn't shake the gnawing sense of wanting to belong. Then the storm hit. Dark clouds gathered, a roaring wind whipped through the festival, and chaos erupted. Clara stood at the heart of the storm, her dreams splintering around her. Drenched by rain, she refused to let despair win. Nathan watched her, a fire kindled in his chest as he gazed at the determination etched into her features. The gusts buffeted her, but she stood tall, and for the first time in years, his heart raced not with fear, but with something else, hope. Amidst the downpour, Nathan approached Clara, and in a moment charged with electricity, she extended her arms toward him. Time stood still as their embrace took shape, a simple hug that seemed to melt away the barriers he had built for a decade. Tears stung his eyes, and he felt a release in his chest he hadn't known he needed. It ignited a flame of compassion deep within him. For the first time in years, Nathan felt alive, but as he stood enveloped in warmth, his mind spiraled. Would they ever see him as anything but a billionaire? Could he bridge the gap between their worlds? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Clara wiped the rain from her face, oblivious to the turmoil within him. Standing on the edge of an astonishing revelation, Nathan knew he was at a crossroads. He could retreat back into his mansion, back into isolation where he felt safe, but lonely, or choose the unknown, to step into the lives of those he long abandoned. The thunder rumbled, echoing the storm in his heart, and with a deep breath, he took a step forward. Could he truly change? Nathan pulled away from the embrace, his heart pounding as he searched Clara's eyes. The rain had softened, each drop now a gentle reminder of the storm that nearly shattered their fragile festival. For the first time, he saw not the bakery owner fighting against the odds, but a woman with a spirit that brightened the darkest of days. He could sense her determination, and it ignited something deep within him. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice barely rising above the fading patter of rain. Clara blinked, her confusion apparent. She had saved him, not the other way around. "Are you all right?" she finally asked, concern lacing her voice. There was kindness there. Nathan could feel it wrapping around him, soothing the sharp edges of his loneliness. "I am now," he said, his uncertainty wrinkling his brow. What could he offer her? How could he prove he was more than what his fortune suggested? Thunder rumbled overhead as he stepped back, letting the chilly air swirl between them. Clara had her dreams, and he had his pretenses. Their worlds felt wide and insurmountable. Yet here they stood, two souls, weathered by life but drawn together like magnets. The remnants of the celebration around them were chaotic. Tables overturned, colorful decorations tangled in the grass. Nathan took a step toward the mess, hasty fingers reaching for a fallen tablecloth. "Let us help," he suggested, throwing a glance at Clara. She hesitated, then nodded, surprising him with her willingness. Together they began to gather the chaos. For each fallen banner they lifted, something began to lift in Nathan too. As he worked alongside her, the weight of pretense slowly fell away. The spirit of the festival still flickered in the eyes of those who remained, and he realized that it wasn't just about the money. It was about community. They found others who stayed behind, sharing laughs as they unwrapped string lights from tangled limbs. Clara's laughter rang clear over the debris of the celebration, and with each sound, the tension in Nathan's heart unraveled further. Here, surrounded by kindness and the laughter of children, he began to understand this was what he had missed. This was connection. "I can't believe how much we've let this storm ruin our hard work," Clara said, brushing a soaked strand of hair from her face. "But you're here. That's what matters. Maybe I can help more than just today," he replied, the thought tumbling from his lips unplanned. "I could invest in the bakery. Help expand your vision." For a heartbeat, Clara stared at him, and Nathan's pulse raced. Would she see it as just another wealthy man offering a handout? Or could she appreciate his genuine desire to make up for years spent hiding behind walls of privilege? Her expression had shifted from confusion to warmth, and he noticed the flicker of hope igniting in her eyes. "I know it's a big offer, but I don't want anything for free. I want to be part of the community. I want to help you win," he urged, each word resonating with sincerity. "I'm not sure that's possible," Clara said, though her tone softened. "You've lived in a world I can't even imagine. How can you know what it means to struggle, to fight against the odds?" The question hung between them, heavy like the damp air. It was true. He had lived a life of privilege that allowed him to ignore the struggles of others. But the hug, that connection, had opened a door he had kept locked for too long. "I'm willing to learn," he said, crossing the distance that remained between them. "And I want to show you that not all wealthy people are indifferent." Clara searched his face, uncertainty flickering across her features. "And if I fail, if my dreams crash and burn despite your help, then I'll help you rebuild," he replied, firm and unwavering. "I want to walk away this time." With that promise hanging in the air, Nathan felt a subtle shift, something monumental taking root within him. They returned to the scattered remnants of the festival, this time side by side, hearts racing not just with hope, but with the slivers of possibility shining through the heavy clouds that they worked and shared praises with those around them. Nathan realized Clara was not just a connection to a community. She was a promise of growth, a chance to redefine himself. But as the sun began to peek through the dissipating clouds, one question loomed in his mind. Could he truly merge two worlds that felt so impossibly far apart? As the sun broke through the last remnants of gray, Nathan squinted against the brightness. The laughter and warmth of people gathering to help restore the festival struck a chord within him, vibrating in a way he hadn't felt in ages. It tugged at the edges of loneliness that had always lingered behind his polished facade. He glanced at Clara, her face aglow with enthusiasm as she organized a group of children, weaving bright ribbons around broken branches. There was a lightness about her that drew him in, fueling his desire to draw nearer. "Hey, can you finish up here?" Nathan asked, gesturing toward a particularly messy patch of fallen decor. "I want to talk with the vendors. They might have suggestions on how we can improve things for next time." Clara nodded, her smile brightening his heart. "That sounds great. Just remember to bring back my idea book, okay?" She tossed the challenge playfully, making him grin. As he walked through the bustling crowd, Nathan felt the heaviness in his chest start to ease. He approached one booth after another, asking questions, sharing insights from his past experiences. Most vendors attended his inquiries with surprise, as if it was rare to have someone with means genuinely interested in their lives. One elderly woman, her hands calloused from decades of work, chuckled as she said, "You really want to know how we do things around here? You're a brave one, aren't you? Nathan chuckled along with her. Bravery has its place, but learning seems more crucial right now. Their eyes met, and in that moment, he felt a wave of warmth wash over him. He was stepping out from behind the walls he built. When he returned to Clara, she was talking with a group of young girls, sharing anecdotes about baking and encouraging them to pick up where the storm had interrupted their fun. Nathan felt an overwhelming surge of admiration as he watched her, her passion infecting everyone around. Imagine what we could do if we combined our talents, he said, stepping closer. Clara turned to him, excitement sparkling in her eyes. You're right. We could host workshops or baking classes for the community, she exclaimed, already imagining the possibilities. The two began tossing ideas back and forth, the initial nervousness replaced with laughter and energy. As they spoke, whispers of their collaboration began to spread, excitement igniting around them. It was infectious, and Nathan felt his own enthusiasm mirrored in the faces of kids and parents gathering closer, emboldened by the prospect of something new. But as the day wore on, a shadow of doubt crept back in. What if Clara's hopes were only fragile dreams? Could he really bring the ideas to life, or would he be the one to let them both down? The uncertainty gnawed at him, threatening to steal the joy of the moment. With the sun sinking low in the sky, Clara turned to him, abruptly serious. Nathan, how do you really think this will work? Do you see us building something lasting? I want to believe you're committed, but her hesitation cut deep. Nathan took a deep breath, weighed down by the enormity of what lay ahead. This isn't about just me helping. It's about us building something together. But it's going to take dedication from both sides. The kind we can't rush. He didn't want to face the reality, yet he knew it was inevitable. Would he commit to this new life, this community and Clara, or retreat once again into the shadows of his privileged existence? As uncertainty mingled with his hope, the question loomed larger than ever, hanging between them like a thin thread stretched tight. Their eyes locked, and Nathan could sense the weight she placed on his words. Would they be able to navigate the terrain ahead, or would their well-intentioned dreams remain just that, dreams? Clara stepped closer, her voice a hushed whisper. What if we fail? Nathan held her gaze, feeling the sincere tremor in her question. Then we'll rewrite our story together. But would they have the will to ensure it didn't end before it even began? The festival was winding down, the festival-goers giving the last of their smiles as they gathered their belongings. The air hummed with excitement, a mixture of triumph and uncertainty. Nathan could feel the collective energy, something crackling in the atmosphere that promised change. Yet, despite this infectious hope, his heart still teetered on the edge that he found himself standing before Clara, their earlier conversation echoing in his mind. She lifted her brow, a glimpse of vulnerability in her eyes. We've got a lot to figure out, Nathan. True, he replied, forcing a smile. But we've made a great start today. Look at how everyone has come together. As he spoke, he glanced around at the mingling crowd. Children darting around with colorful ribbons, laughter ringing out like music in the crisp air. But inside, Nathan fought against a tide of uncertainty. This was all fresh and new. He had spent years in a world where everything felt curated and safe. How easy would it be to navigate the bumps and turns of real life, the life Clara was hoping for? What's on your mind? Clara's voice cut through his spiraling thoughts. The question hung between them, heavy and loaded. He knew he had to be honest. I want this to work, Clara, but I'm scared. What if I can't pull this off? Her features softened, and she stepped forward, closing the distance. What if we shift our focus? Instead of thinking about the end goal, let us look at our steps together. We can take small risks, she suggested, her enthusiasm infectious, bringing warmth back into his chest. He couldn't help but smile at her spirit. What's our first step then? She took a moment to think, her hands on her hips. How about we set up a small baking class this weekend? It'll be simple, a few recipes, some local ingredients. Just something easy that can get people involved. Nathan felt a rush of excitement. We could use that community center. It'd be perfect. Exactly. Clara beamed, her joy radiating. And then we can see how it goes, gauge interest. It's about building relationships first. Her words resonated deep within him. Building relationships. He hadn't felt those connections in years, maybe ever. And here was Clara, leading him into unknown territory, pulling him out of his solitary life with mere ideas that felt alive. "I'll take care of the supplies," Nathan declared, suddenly feeling empowered. "And I can handle the promotion. We can create a buzz around it. Yes, let us make it a community event." Clara's face lit up. "We can collaborate with the vendors too. It'll showcase them and what they offer." They wasted no time as they began brainstorming flyers and catchy slogans. As the sun dipped below the horizon, golden light draped over their plans. Laughter bubbled between them, filled with hope and the thrill of possibility. But deep down, Nathan felt that weight again, lurking like a beast in the shadows. What if he failed? If this small workshop flopped, what excuse would he have for stepping back into his safe cocoon? Would he lose Clara as well? "Promise me we'll keep each other grounded in this," Nathan said, hesitating. "I don't want us to fall apart if things get tough." "Absolutely. It's a team effort, Nathan. We've got this." Clara took a small step forward, a reminder of how real this was. As they turned to look at the festival's remnants, the stars began to twinkle, bright and hopeful in the darkening sky. "Tonight, it feels like we're on the brink of something big," she whispered, glancing up as if searching for guidance. "I think we are," Nathan replied, his heart pounding with anticipation and dread, entwined in moments of hope. But as the echo of their laughter faded, and the thrill became muted by gnawing self-doubt, one inexplicable thought pierced through. Was he really ready to lose himself in this promise, or would uncertainty pull him away again when it mattered most? The sweetness of the evening lingered, but the next day would demand more. What awaited them in that first class could either solidify their bond or unravel it completely. The day of the baking class arrived with an undeniable buzz in the air. Nathan caught a glimpse of the sky, streaked with soft pinks and oranges, promising a beautiful morning. It set the tone he'd been hoping for. Sleep had eluded him last night. Too many thoughts danced around his mind. What if no one showed up? Or worse yet, what if it turned into a disaster? He shook off his nerves as he loaded his car with supplies. Flour, sugar, eggs, and a mountain of enthusiasm strung together like a lifeline. It felt surreal, stepping out into the world after so long. And yet Clara's trust in him was more tangible than ever. Each item he packed whispered encouragement, a gentle reminder that they were in this together. Clara was already at the community center when he arrived. Her face lit up as she spotted him. "You made it," she exclaimed, her voice a melody of excitement that pushed away some of his lingering doubts. "Of course. I couldn't miss this," he replied, trying to match her enthusiasm. They quickly set up the tables and arranged the ingredients, laughing between them as they mapped out the plan for their first session. The scent of fresh coffee wafted through the air, mixing with the sweet aromas of baked goods that Clara had prepared in advance. The community center felt welcoming, buzzing with an energy that seemed to lift Nathan's spirits as they neared the start time. A trickle of familiar faces appeared. Neighbors, parents, and some curious newcomers wandered in, assessing the space with eager curiosity. The classroom grew warm with anticipation and warmth, and Clara smiled brightly, her excitement infectious. "Look at them," she whispered to Nathan. "This is exactly what we hoped for. Community." He nodded, swallowing the lump of anxiety that threatened to rise. People had come for a simple baking class, but deep down, he understood they were also here for something bigger. Connection. Togetherness. They craved belonging. Before they knew it, the room buzzed with chatter, laughter weaving through the air like an embrace. Clara's presence anchored him, as she guided them through the basics of measuring flour and whisking eggs. Nathan stood a little to the side, watching, trying to keep the mood light and the atmosphere engaging. But as the minutes rolled on, he fought against the urge to retreat. "Hey," Clara said, a soft nudge against his arm. "You're doing great. Just remind them about the fun part." A smile flickered on his lips, though it wavered as doubts pressed at the edges of his mind. Fun. Was this truly fun? Would he be able to connect with these people? Clara caught his eye just as the oven timer dinged. "Now is your chance." She gestured toward the wide-eyed participants eagerly waiting for their creations. "All right, everyone," Nathan called, his heart pounding in his chest. "Let us take a look at how we did." As they pulled the pastries from the oven, a chorus of oohs and ahs filled the room. Nathan's shoulders began to relax, and he felt a warmth flood through him. He engaged with the participants, asking them to share their stories, their baking experiences, as everyone cut into their fluffy creations. Suddenly, a child's laughter erupted from the corner, followed by the delighted squeals of others. The room came alive. Nathan smiled, his heart lightening with each shared moment. Clara moved among them effortlessly, weaving connections, her presence both calming and invigorating. But his moment of joy was interrupted when he noticed someone lingering at the back, a familiar face from his past. It was Mark, a high school classmate he hadn't spoken to in years. His breath caught, memories washing over him like cold water. What did Mark want here? Was he judging Nathan's efforts? As Clara turned to him, her expression unwavering, Nathan shifted. He faltered, unsure how to voice the storm brewing inside him. Maybe this was a mistake. Look at them. She gestured, eyes sparkling. This is a community in action. You felt it too, right? But even as hope flickered, Nathan couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter might unravel everything they were building. What would Mark say? What was he thinking? The room felt charged with energy, anticipation buzzing at the edges. A moment hung in the balance. Could he confront his past without falling back? Nathan took a deep breath, preparing to face both Mark and his own fears. As he stepped toward Mark, anxiety rippled through him. Would this be the moment that confirmed his doubts, or would it cement the bravery he'd begun to rediscover? Nathan felt the weight of the room shift, all eyes on him as he approached Mark. The laughter and chatter faded into a low hum, their excitement turning into a backdrop for his unexpected confrontation. Each step felt heavier than the last, doubt creeping closer like a shadow. What had he really accomplished here? Was he ready to stand up to his past, or was he still that scared kid back in high school? Mark looked up, surprise flicking across his features. Nathan? The name hung in the air, a ghost that pulled Nathan back to those awkward teenage years. The longing for acceptance, for connection, it all returned like an old wound reopening. Hey, Nathan managed, his voice steadier than he felt. It's been a while. Yeah, 10 years or something, Mark replied, his smile hesitant but genuine. I heard about the class. Thought I'd come check it out. Nathan felt the room hold its breath as people listened in, their eyes darting between the two men. How has life been? He asked, an awkward attempt to keep the conversation flowing, even as his mind raced with insecurities. It's good. Busy, you know. Work and all that. Mark shrugged. I should have reached out sooner, but I was kinda caught up. Nathan sensed the weight of unspoken history in Mark's words. Right, Nathan replied, his mind gliding over their days in high school. The unkind comments, the cliques, the moments that had defined them, not exactly a fond recollection. Well, I'm glad you're here. An awkward silence settled before Clara chimed in, her presence a bright contrast to Nathan's internal struggle. Mark, our aim today is to create community through baking. Can you share what brought you here? Mark shifted his stance, the curiosity of the room pulling him in. Honestly, I didn't expect to see Nathan. I remember him being talented with this stuff back in school. Seems like he's really doing well now. Nathan shifted uncomfortably, feeling exposed. He tried not to let the compliment bounce around in his mind too much. I'm learning. It's just something that brings people together. Absolutely. It's fun how food can do that. Clara beamed, her enthusiasm infectious. As Nathan took a breath, he felt Clara's supportive gaze beside him. Encouragement pulsed through her focus, and the commotion of the class filled him with a renewed sense of purpose. He could do this. Why don't we make some of that magic happen? Nathan proposed, gesturing back to the class. Anyone want to share their baking tips? Let us make this even more fun. I think they're already having a blast, Clara replied, her eyes sparkling with hope. The participants were buzzing, eager to dive into the next batch of pastries, and Nathan realized he wasn't just leading a class anymore. He was part of something meaningful. As the discussions resumed, laughter filled the room once again. The fear that had clung to him at the beginning now felt like a distant echo. He turned his gaze back to Mark. You should join us. Bring your best idea for what we should bake next. Why not? It's been ages since I've baked, Mark laughed, the nervousness lifting. Nathan's heart swelled, his fears edging away as they began to brainstorm together. The sense of connection, once so frail, now blossomed between them, and for the first time in a long while, he felt a flicker of understanding about his own journey. But just as excitement began to rise, a voice pierced through the crowd. bringing with it a feeling of dread. "Nathan, is that really you?" It was Sarah, another classmate from high school, her expression a mix of confusion and speculation. Once again, the past had come back to wave its hand from the shadows. Nathan froze. He could feel the warmth draining from him, anxiety creeping back. Was he ready to hear what she had to say? Could the connections he was beginning to forge withstand even this new surge from history? As the class watched Sarah approach with curiosity, Nathan braced himself for what could come next. Would this be the moment that truly defined his growth, or another twist in the winding road he was trying to navigate? Nathan's heart raced as Sarah drew near, her expression shifting from surprise to something more complex, a mix of curiosity and perhaps a bit of judgment. The room felt smaller, the air thick with anticipation. He could sense Clara beside him, her presence steady, but all his focus was on Sarah, who was now standing before him, a ghost from his past. "Wow," Sarah exclaimed, looking at him as if he were a puzzle she was trying to solve. "You've really changed." There was an awkward silence, and he could feel the curious gazes of their classmates, eager to dissect this moment. "Yeah, I guess so," Nathan replied, trying to match her energy but failing to hide the tremor in his voice. "It's been a while since high school, hasn't it?" He forced a smile, hoping it would ease the tension. Sarah crossed her arms, her brow furrowing slightly. "A while indeed. You just disappeared after graduation. No one really knew what happened to you." There was a note of accusation in her tone, and Nathan felt the weight of her unspoken questions. "I needed time," Nathan said, finding strength in his words. "I had to figure things out." It wasn't a complete truth, but it was the best explanation he could muster in the moment. The lingering shadows of those high school years hovered, but maybe, just maybe, they didn't have to define him anymore. "And now you teach baking?" Sarah asked, a hint of skepticism in her voice that stung like a small jab. "What's next?" "A cooking show." She laughed, but it didn't feel like genuine amusement. "Actually, yes," Clara interjected, stepping in to support him. "He's amazing at it. Nathan has brought a whole community together today." Sarah's eyes narrowed for a moment, a flicker of uncertainty passing over her face. Perhaps Clara's words had given her pause, making her rethink her stance. Nathan felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe this could be a bridge between their past conflicts. "Community, huh?" Sarah mused, glancing around at the busy participants mixing dough and laughing. "Guess you found your niche." Her comment was tinged with sarcasm, a lingering doubt clinging stubbornly to her words. "Yes, I did," Nathan said, surprising himself. The mild annoyance quickly turned into resolve. "And it's actually been pretty rewarding. More than I ever expected." Nathan's heart raced with empowerment as Clara flashed him a smile of approval. The laughter around him was warm and inviting, pushing some of the baggage away, even if just momentarily. Sarah hesitated, the walls she had built around her curiosity suddenly appearing flimsy. "So you're happy now?" That question cut deeper than any sarcasm. He paused, weighing the truth against the facade he had built. He thought of the journey that had led him here, the fear, the loneliness, the small victories. "Yeah," he replied, his voice steady. "I really am." A flicker of something fear, perhaps, crossed Sarah's face, and for the first time, Nathan saw a glimpse of empathy. The room around them buzzed with lively chatter, but their moment felt suspended in time, an electric tension binding them together. Maybe I should give this baking thing a try." Sarah's voice softened, the challenge in her gaze replaced by something gentler in invitation. "If you can change, maybe I can too." Before he could respond, the sound of utensils clanking and people chatting in excitement enveloped them. It was clear that this was the bustling backdrop of new beginnings. Nathan felt the tension ease, the starkness of their past melding with the warmth of present possibilities. As the exclamation faded, Nathan took a breath, eyes locked on Sarah, a thousand unspoken thoughts swirling. "You should. Let us all get our hands dirty together." But before she could reply, the door swung open dramatically, and another voice rang through the room, cutting into their moment. "What is going on here?" The air thickened once again, and Nathan knew that this interruption might lead them into another realm of vulnerability. Who else had come to face their history? What would this new twist reveal about their stories unfolding in tandem? Would they Connections they were beginning to forge stand the test of whatever new challenges lay ahead. Nathan turned to face the sudden arrival, his heart racing once more. The figure standing in the doorway was tall, with a confident stance that commanded attention. It was Mark, the high school football star, whose charisma had always drawn throngs of admirers around him. But Nathan noticed a different energy in him, now something disarming, maybe even vulnerable. Got your head stuck in flour, Nathan? Or just cooking up some false hope? Mark's voice cut through the air like a sharp knife, filled with an old bravado that didn't quite hit the mark this time. Nathan felt Clara tense at his side, ready to jump to his defense, but he raised a calming hand. Just trying to bring people together, Mark, he replied, swallowing hard. You might want to give it a shot too. Mark stepped further into the room, the atmosphere shifting. The other participants turned their heads, caught between the brewing tension and the aroma of freshly baked bread. Together? Is that your big plan? To bake your way into everyone's heart. His laughter rang hollow, echoing some of the insecurities Nathan had fought hard to silence. But there was an unexpected flicker of interest in Sarah's eyes. Maybe that's exactly what we all need. A little less judgment and a bit more compassion. Her words hung heavy in the air, challenging both Nathan and Mark to dig deeper than the surface. And what do you know about compassion, Sarah? Mark shot back, the challenge simmering in his tone. You always thought you were above it all. Nathan flinched at the jab. Was this how their past was destined to repeat itself? The years had changed him, thickened his skin, but would he really let Mark draw him back into rising tensions? Enough, Nathan interjected, his voice stronger than it felt. We're here to celebrate, to connect, not to tear each other down. He glanced around at the people eagerly working on their projects, their faces glowing with creativity. Look at all this passion. This is more than just baking, it's about opening up, about finding a way to heal. There was silence. For a moment, it felt as if time had held its breath, waiting for the next word or action to tip the balance. Finally, Mark's expression softened, though he fought it hard. Healing? In a kitchen? Laughable. But Sarah didn't back down. Laughable. Isn't that what the world tells us about vulnerability? Look around you. The moment we let ourselves share, we reconnect with who we really are. Nathan felt a rush of gratitude toward her, a spark igniting their fragile alliance. Maybe their shared past didn't have to drown them, maybe it could guide them instead. Join us, Mark, Nathan suggested, his voice steady. Let us show everyone how it's done. Mark scoffed lightly, but Nathan caught the hesitation in his eyes, a flicker of curiosity, perhaps a glimmer of doubt about his own harshness. Fine, Mark muttered, crossing his arms defensively, but there was a hint of something else lurking beneath the surface. What do I even do? Frost the cupcakes? Laughter bubbled up around them, the tension beginning to dissolve into a warm buzz. Clara beamed at Nathan, relief washing over her. Actually, frosting is one of the most critical skills in baking, and I'd be happy to show you how. Sarah chimed in, her tone friendlier now. What about practice? You'll need to work hard to perfect it, and that requires more than just a snide remark, Nathan added, playful yet serious. As they started to gather around the kitchen counter, ingredients spilling out and laughter rising, Nathan couldn't shake the feeling that this was a turning point. Maybe they could redefine their past, maybe even rewrite their futures. But just as their camaraderie began to solidify, Clara's phone buzzed loudly, cutting through their moment like a sharp knife. She glanced down, her smile faltering. Oh no, she looked back at Nathan, worry flooding her face. It's my mom. I have to take this. Nathan's heart sank. The warmth they had begun to build felt fragile, and one call threatened to shatter it. What would this new challenge bring? Would it pull them apart once more, or could it solidify the bonds they were forming? As he watched Clara walk toward a quieter corner, Nathan felt the weight of uncertainty pressing against him. Would they be able to hold on to this moment of hope amidst the unexpected storms of life? Or would the shadows of the past push them back into isolation? Nathan watched as Clara stepped away, her phone pressed tightly to her ear. The kitchen buzzed with activity, but his focus was solely on Clara's distant figure. He could see the lines of worry deepening across her brow, and a lump formed in his throat. What could possibly be so urgent? Mark, still lingering nearby, crossed his arms again. Is this your grand plan? Watching your friend stress out while pretending everything's perfect? The sarcastic edge returned to Mark's voice, but Nathan sensed an underlying concern. Cut her some slack, Sarah said, her gaze flitting back and forth between Clara and Nathan. We're all in this together, right? The weight in Nathan's chest seemed to lift just a little at her words. He nodded, even while his own heart raced with anxiety. The moment felt pivotal, and he longed to seize it, but he didn't want to push Clara into a situation where she felt cornered. I'd feel a lot better if we were here for each other instead of picking fights, Nathan replied, injecting a sense of unity into the tension. Mark shifted, looking uncomfortable for the first time since he walked in. Okay. I was just playing, he muttered. Guess I misjudged the vibe. Sarah smiled softly, a hint of understanding dawning in her eyes. It's okay. We've all got our burdens to carry. Sometimes sharing those burdens can lighten the load. Her voice was gentle, her sincerity palpable. But even Sarah's words couldn't prevent the knot of anxiety twisting in Nathan's stomach. He wanted to reach out to Clara, to pull her back into this space they had begun to create together, but he didn't want to force her. What if this call brought back unresolved issues that could tear them apart again? As the minutes ticked by, the chatter in the kitchen continued around him. Mark started to play with some icing, smearing it on the side of a cupcake without even looking. Laughter erupted when he made a ridiculous face, and for a brief moment, Nathan was grateful for the distraction. Yet, he couldn't shake the unease. If Clara was upset, it could unravel everything they worked for tonight. The laughter felt distant, almost like an echo of the warmth he desperately wanted to reclaim in his heart. Do you think she'll be okay? Nathan asked, breaking the comfortable silence that had enveloped him. Clara's tough, Sarah said, dipping a finger into the frosting and licking it. She always finds a way through. Nathan nodded, but his mind still raced. He couldn't shake the fear that they were on the cusp of something meaningful, only for it to slip through their fingers like flour in a sieve. Just then, Clara returned, her face pale and shaken. I have to go, she stammered, dread pooling in Nathan's gut. There's been an accident. What? The words slipped from Nathan's lips as he stepped closer, his eyes wide with concern. It's my brother, Clara said, biting her lip. He's in the hospital. I need to be there. The world around Nathan felt like it was collapsing. Clara, wait. He called, reaching out for her hand, but she was already retreating, her expression a mix of fear and determination. Mark looked stunned, and even Sarah's cheerful demeanor faltered as realization hit. We'll come with you, Nathan offered, the words pouring out of him as he locked eyes with Clara. We won't let you go through this alone. But as Clara hesitated, the tension hung in the air, heavy and still. Would she accept their help? Would she allow them to be part of her life when the shadows loomed so large? In that instant, Nathan knew that this was more than just about baking in the kitchen anymore. It was about facing the deeper truths of their connections. Would they come together when it mattered most? As Clara glanced back at Nathan, her eyes shimmering with uncertainty, he felt the pulse of hope and fear intertwine. Would they stand united, or would this be the moment that once again pushed them apart? Clara held their gazes, her vulnerability laid bare as she wrestled with the urge to leave and the desire to let them in. Nathan stepped closer, his heart pounding fiercely. The kitchen buzzed with energy, but all he could focus on was Clara. Please, Clara, he urged softly, you don't have to go through this alone. Let us help you. Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears, reflecting the weight of fear and uncertainty. I can't. I have to be there for my family. And you will be, Nathan replied, his voice steady. But you can bring us along. Just think about it, a team. Your brother deserves all the support he can get, and so do you. Tension danced in the air, thick and electric. Nathan could feel the collective breath the group took, their concerns silently intertwining with Clara's. Mark shifted uneasily, clearly unsure of how to navigate this new territory. But he said, Nathan's right. Family is everything. We can figure this out together. Clara's shoulders eased just a fraction, just as a flicker of hope pushed through the clouds of uncertainty hovering just above her. But what if my family doesn't want that? Then we'll be there as your support anyway, Sarah added, nodding firmly. This is about you. You shouldn't have to face this on your own. For a heartbeat, Clara stared at them, the swirl of emotions overwhelming her features. But Nathan saw it too, the glimmer of resilience flickering within. You are not alone in this. We'll be with you every step of the way, he pledged, feeling the determination rising within him. Clara finally broke, a tear slipping down her cheek, but it was accompanied by a soft smile, one that reflected gratitude. "Okay," she said, "let us do this." In the next breath, Clara felt the warmth of connection solidify around her. As they stirred memories of shared stories and experiences, she felt lighter despite the heaviness awaiting her. With newfound purpose, Clara picked up her phone, texted her family, and shared the news of her friends joining her. As she did, the kitchen buzzed back to life, laughter bubbling over, everyone working together, a family of their own making. "Okay, team," Nathan called out, while Clara checks in on her brother. "Let us prepare a basket of goods to take with us. We can whip up his favorite cookies and some treats for the family. What do you all think?" Excitement rippled through the group. The initial fears and shadows shifted into unity, each person diving into the task. Flour danced in the air, laughter echoed through the hall, and bags of goodies began to pile up, suddenly turning from mere baking into an infusion of hope and comfort. Clara watched as the magic unfolded around her. Each laugh, every shared moment, knit them into something deeper, perseverance beneath the beauty of a community. As they finalized a colorful basket brimming with baked goods, Clara felt her heart swell. Her laughter soon joined theirs, resounding through the room. "I can't believe how far we've come," she said, beaming at Nathan, who stood just beside her. "No backing out now," he joked, a radiant smile lighting his face. While Clara felt the bond of worry begin to ease, she also felt something new, a sense of belonging sprouting deep within. Together, they huddled around Clara, exchanging encouraging words and glances. "Ready?" Nathan asked, his hand on her shoulder. "Ready," she echoed, a quiet determination in her voice. And so, with the warmth of their camaraderie enveloping them, they walked out of the community center, united and stronger than before. As they made their way to Clara's car, the cool evening air brushed against their faces, and the sky began to brighten. Each step felt lighter, laden only with collective hope. It was a sacred moment. This journey they shared felt like a turning page, a bright beginning. They would face life as challenges together, not just in joy, but in struggles, too. And as Clara turned the key in the ignition, glancing at the faces beside her, she knew this journey would reshape everything. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice breaking with emotion. Nathan leaned in closer, feeling his own sense of purpose define this new chapter unfolding before him. "We're all in this together, Clara. Always." Hope radiated around them like sunlight breaking through the clouds, illuminating a world full of opportunity, connection, and the heartbeat of a revived community, the embrace of true transformation. As the car drove into the night, Nathan felt not just warmth in his heart, but a sense of freedom he hadn't thought possible. Here, now, they were writing their story, side by side, step by glorious step. This was just the beginning. Before we wrap this up, I need you to act fast. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on more heartwarming stories like this one. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support for these incredible journeys. And comment below with your reaction and feelings about this amazing ending. Your thoughts mean the world to us. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of showing that support.